All right. So just really quick, what I'm about to talk about here is, let me get my Twitch stuff out of the way, is there's some work that needs to be done. Well, the big thing that we want to get at is like long term, trying to expose how RxJS operators are developed by the RxJS team to everyone else in such a way that it's readable and understandable. And I mentioned this in my last stream, but like there's a discussion on this. The discussion is right over here, building operators the way we build operators. And there's this proposal that we can add an owner. Let me scroll down to the proposal. There's a couple things. We need to add a finalize to our observer, which would be new, but there's precedent for it, and TAP allows that right now. And we also would have to add this options bit in here that takes an owner of either a subscription or subscriber. I'm not going to dive too deeply into that, but I can dig into this and show a little bit about, my kids are yelling, sorry. Show a little bit about why this needs to exist. If I go and I look inside of our code base, you can see that we have this thing called operator subscriber. An operator subscriber does some magic for us in that it allows you to pass in like, here's some subscriber that we want to send things to, and here's some override points for next complete error, when you want to finalize, some finalization handling, and whether or not it should subscribe. This is the thing we're really going to focus on today. But what this class does is it allows us to override the implementations of next, error, and complete on a subscriber. And that means that we can do things like, oh, I know that if there's a problem in here, I want to catch it and send it on to the destination automatically. So people don't have to add, or more importantly, inside of RxJS, we didn't have to add that boilerplate to make that happen, right? So this is just a way to kind of centralize this same sort of functionality happening over and over again. And this is a lot of the reasons that our operators became a lot smaller, maybe a year and a half ago, whenever I did all the work to go through and like reduce the size of RxJS by about 50%. So centralizing this stuff here. Now, this, if you go and you look at any implementation in here, you look at, say, map is a good one, or let's do like take. We'll look at take. So you look at take and you can see that, oh, we're creating an operator subscriber. This is just a wrapper around new operators. So this is just like a code golf thing. It's going to get removed inevitably, but you can see that we're giving it a subscriber. We only really have an override for the next handler, and it reduces just a ton of boilerplate when we pass that in. One of the magic things that this does is when you pass a subscriber in, it does some stuff where it connects the subscription. So it makes sure that the downstream subscription is a child of the upstream subscription. So if there's one unsubscribes, the other one unsubscribes, and so on. So, or when the child unsubscribes, it unsubscribes from itself. So it's, I think I said that backwards. The downstream subscription would be a parent to the upstream subscription because it owns it, it's subscribed to it. Regardless, it sets those sorts of chains up. There's my upcoming streams are going to talk a lot more about that, but we have this weird one-off in groupBy. If I come and I look at groupBy, I didn't want to search the whole web, silly. If I go and I look at groupBy, you can see there's a weird one-off where we're not using create operator subscriber. We're actually using this directly, new operator subscriber. And the reason for that, and this is a horrible API, it's internal only because it's using like ordinal based, like here's a bunch of arguments, is it uses the very, very last argument in here, which is this. And what this is it is a call that you return true or false to decide whether or not you should unsubscribe. This is getting really batty. The reason that this exists and is only used in groupBy is groupBy has this really strange behavior. The strange behavior that I'm talking about is described in this issue that I filed a little more than a year ago, where basically it's special case handling for groupBy. And what it does is you can take a grouped observable, and it's, well, whenever you're in here and you use a groupBy, it makes an observable of observables. You can leak one of those out, actually, and subscribe to it, or you can subscribe as what I'm showing here. You can subscribe directly in some handler and leak that subscription. And when you unsubscribe from this overall subscription, it does not unsubscribe this one. It keeps this overall subscription, everything above it, live and active. This is done for historic reasons more than any sensible reasons. And the core team has discussed this, and we've decided we want to remove this behavior because, and you can look through this issue, but you know, we came to quorum on it. We want to kill it. But the big thing is it's probably the source of memory leaks more than it is a source of a useful piece of functionality, right? Like people will unsubscribe from this subscription here, and this interval and all of this stuff is still going because this subscription was never unsubscribed. Totally weird. That shouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen in any other case where we were doing anything like this. But it's the reason that this piece of functionality exists in our operator subscriber. So we want to break this behavior. It was an expected behavior. There's tests around it to make sure that this works. And we want to break it, remove those tests, possibly add some additional tests that show that we don't want that behavior. Like maybe we'll just change those tests to be like, you know, this is how it works now. So it doesn't get broken back the other direction at some point. And then this is going to be like a stepping stone, this PR, to make it to where we can productize that operator subscriber in a way that I'm kind of describing in this other discussion, where basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that the owner is getting threaded through, and that you're treating your next error and complete handlers as though they're already wrapped inside of these try catches for you. So it'll do everything the operator subscriber does for you without you having to import it and use it or know how to use it. It'll just work, and it should make a little bit more foolproof and a little bit easier for people to develop operators. All right, so on to the work. We have to, let's start a new branch where we're gonna work on this. My kids are outside the door. I don't know what they're doing. I think they're okay. All right, so let me get in here. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Sorry about that. Let me make sure that I'm actually looking at the right screen so you can see what I'm working on here. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger, which makes it harder for me to work, but easier for you to see. All right, so first thing first, I'm gonna check out a new branch, and I'm just gonna call it fix, what is it? 6805, remove strange group by behavior. All right, so we've checked that out. And the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna go in and I'm gonna look at our operator subscriber, because this is this bit here when we're creating operator subscriber on finalize. I was already poking around at this actually. No, I was not. Here. This bit should unsubscribe. We want to get rid of this because this is only used in our groupBy. So if I just delete this, we're going to see some errors down at the bottom. And yeah, we don't need to check this anymore. We'll just always call this bit there. Now, groupBy is going to have an issue with that, where we've got this here. And So this is in here saying, hey, look, I've attempted to tear down. Okay, true. And we only want to actually tear down if we don't have any active groups. Active groups is being tracked by like when you subscribe and unsubscribe. And the only reason it's being tracked is for this thing. So this is going to clean up groupBy quite a bit, I think. But first thing first, let's go ahead and remove this. And then let's go find our teardown attempted. This is complaining that it's never reassigned, so it doesn't need to be let. That's okay. We'll get rid of that. I suspect active groups probably has no purpose at this point, so I'm going to delete that. And we'll see what breaks in here. Yeah, active group teardown attempted. So this is just saying whether or not it wants to. Oh, you know what? Active groups does have a purpose, so let's put that one back. So we needed to do that to see if we wanted to unsubscribe from the source in that case. Let's go back down here. So teardown attempted has no purpose. So inside of here, we're just saying, hey, here's a grouped observable. If we get to where there's no more active groups anymore, let's go ahead and unsubscribe from this. Now, let me think about this. So this is the groupBy source subscriber. This is the subscription to the source that we're grouping off of. And we're tracking it to be like, oh, look, if we did attempt teardown and the active groups, yeah, I think that what we want to do is just allow everything to tear down. So at the point that someone unsubscribes from this grouped observable, we don't want to do this. Yeah, we don't care about any of this stuff. We can just go ahead and remove it. Returning this inner subscription directly is the same thing as returning this. Let me go up and remove that. Active groups, we don't need this. All right. Don't need that. This is unnecessary. We can just return this one here. And delete that. But since I work in the library, I happen to know that returning this is because this is a subscriber. And when you subscribe with a subscriber, it automatically changes the subscription. I happen to know I don't even need to do this. So let me think about this. So right now we have this result that's an observable that all it does is subscribe to this group subject. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. There's another way to do this. I could say group subject as observable in there. And then bolt that on. I'm going to look at the subject as observable in here. Yeah, so this is literally the same thing. So we can use that and save us a little bit. And I know I've got typed as any, and that's people are sad about any, but I'm okay with it. All right, subject as observable. Oh, but it thinks it's subject like, let me think about this. Create grouped observable. Where are we calling this from? Find all references. Is this coming from anything else? Are we providing this? So our connector could be any subject like, which means we don't know. All right, that's fair. Let me put that back. We don't know that we can actually use as observable here. And the reason is that we've exposed an external API where someone could define their own connector. That could be any subject-like thing. And so we do need to do this little bit here. All right, fair enough. So this is returning a grouped observable. It's returning any. That's not the prettiest thing in the world it could return, but that's okay. And where is that being used? Find all references. It's only being used in one spot. I'm not sure I see the value of not just inlining this if it's only being used in one spot. Maybe, is it cleaner? I mean, realistically, it's this, and then you add a key to it, and you get the result. If it's inlined, whatever, we'll keep it there for now. I'm not a fan of the fact that this is only being used in one spot. If you want things to be efficient, there's no reason to make a separate function call for this, but it's probably okay. I might come back and refactor that someday. All right, now else are we doing in here? It's so hard when it's all zoomed in like this. Okay. We have our grouped source subscriber, creating an operator. See, this is using operator subscriber. That's where I was talking about. Well, of course I was talking about it. The very last argument's the one I removed. Let's see. In here, we've got create operator subscriber. We can actually use create operator subscriber now here because we're not using that final argument anymore, and it's the same thing. So that's create operator subscriber. And what else? What else can we do? We were tracking the grouped subscription earlier very directly and very purposefully. Where was that? I think it was called like groupBy source subscriber. Is there a subscription in here? I talk about subscriptions a lot, apparently. Oh, no, I was just calling, I think I was just calling unsubscribe on that groupBy source subscriber. Let's look at the old stuff. Yeah, I was calling the unsubscribe directly on the subscriber because subscribers are both observers and subscriptions. Okay, all right. So we're already tracking that. That's fine. Let's go back and make sure there's a reason that we still have that. So here we're passing it in. We have it ahead of time. It is adding things to itself inside of there. All right. I think that the rest of this looks fine. Now, when I run the tests are definitely going to break because, like I said, there's tests already that are testing to make sure this behavior works. So what else can I do in here? The other thing I can do is, I don't think there's a reason to export this, but maybe I can do that in another pass because everything should be using this at this point. All of this is about to go away in a couple more PRs, but let's run our groupBy tests, see what breaks. All right. You know what I'm not good at with these Twitch streams is actually being able to see see the chat. I should probably bring that up in another tab over here. That way you guys can tell me if I'm doing something horribly, horribly wrong, which I might be. All right. So let's see. Someone's asking me about my sound setup. Let's see. Is there a way for me to set it to mono output? I'm only getting audio in lefty. I don't know. Like it's probably some weird mixing thing with like, how do I put this? Like, I'm going to take a break from RxJS development to stop really quick and talk about Twitch. Like, Twitch is not the most beginner friendly thing in the world at all. Last stream I had these alerts that came by default that would like startle me and then startle everyone that was watching it. And I'm sorry if all this is just coming in one ear. I will look at that next. Thank you for reporting it. I don't want to take the time to do that right now, but I'll look at it before I run another stream. Sorry. All right. Let's see. So let's get back to this. Looking at groupBy tests. The groupBy test, we should have had some failures, and we did. We have two failing. What are our two failing? We've got the groupBy operator should allow the outer, let's make this a little wider, to be unsubscribed early, but the inners to continue. Yeah, we want to stop that because it's really, really weird. So that's a test we want to delete or change. And it should allow using a outer unsubscribed early. So this is the outer unsubscribed early problem as well. All right, so we want to change those tests and go ahead and find them. One thing that kind of sucks is you have to go down here and click on it that way because it's the thing with the test scheduler is it runs from there, like synchronously when that finishes, as opposed to going to one of these lines. Not my favorite, but it's fine. Let's see. All right, so it should allow outer to be unsubscribed early. So here we can see we're unsubscribing from our outer early right there, but the inners continue. They should not continue. They should not. They should go and go and go. Even if they quit, I don't care. They should like stop there. They should all unsubscribe at that point. If I wanted to be a good guy about this, I'll put those back to where they were. All right. So they should just stop there. And I don't think we'll have them complete. I'll have to think about this. What I want if I have them complete on unsubscribe, do we have the other ones completing on unsubscribe? They're going to do what they're going to do for sure. I don't think we have the other ones completing on unsubscribe, because if we're saying that the consumer is saying, I'm no longer interested in these values, it knows that it's unsubscribing. So it should not care if the inners complete or not. They're not completing by virtue of the fact anything upstream is completing. They're just unsubscribing. So, all right, I think we're good. Let's see. We'll see if we fix that one issue. I saw one fail in there. Is it just the one now? Yep. All right, so let's go look at the other one. Oh, and I need to change the name of that test. Let's see. It should unsubscribe inner subscriptions when the outer is, or when the result unsubscribes. Outer is kind of a misconception, because it's like there's a source, there's all the inner ones, and then there's the result observable. So, anywho, all right. And the other thing we might want to assert in here is when they actually unsubscribe. Actually, yeah, let's do that. So let's just say, I hate that this is W and X, but that's okay. Just go here and say, inner subs 1. And we're gonna have to move these around probably. Let's see, it starts there. So we'd expect this to look something like that. And then inner subs 2 should be here. All right. I think that we want to assert these things. Let's see if we can actually expect observable. And then we can bring in expect subscriptions. Oh, look, it's already here. No one's using it. That's just sad. Expect subscriptions, actual subscription logs. So inner subs 1. Although I don't know if I'm going to get subscription logs for these. We might not be able to test this directly with test scheduler. We'll find out. To be, oh, wait. We need to be able to record those inners. Are we recording the inners? W and X. Expected values. So these are, but we're not actually subscribing to these. We're just expecting them. Interesting. I don't really know that we're going to be able to capture these subscriptions and test them. I might have to kind of like hack my way around this. Well, we're gonna see. So expect it'll be W subscriptions to be inner subs 1. Expect subscriptions X subscriptions to be inner subs 2. And the reason that these things exist is you're basically just going to assert that like you subscribed and unsubscribed when you expect it to. And the goal is to prevent leaks. So like you wouldn't want this to just continue to be subscribed even though it's done. So let's just double check this. think Tracy Lee is actually calling me on the phone right now. She is. She's calling me on the phone. I'm sorry, Tracy. I'm streaming. I want to get this work done. I'll call you right back. She's gonna get in the chat and yell at me. All right, let's see. This is ugly, but let's look at it. Yeah, expected nothing. So we don't have any assertion here because these are never actually subscribed to. These are just used to build out subscriptions that we have for testing. So I don't really know that I'm going to be able to test it like that. The only other thing I could do would be to put a tap in here and like capture the frames at which these things were unsubscribed. That's a possibility. Is what actually builds these subscriptions is this expect observable call, because it queues it up to actually like do some work to figure out like what frames or when, and like build out all of these marbles or whatever, including for subscriptions. But I'm not subscribing to this there, so I don't really know that it's going to work out. Yeah, let's just do this like a manual way. So I would expect this to happen on frame. Let's see, there's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. So frame 10. So subscribe on frame 0 and 10. Let's just hack this in here with a tab. Can we do this with a tab? No. Can we? No, because we just have an observable reference. I don't know that we can really assert this one, because we get an observable reference inside of there. And yeah, this is kind of gnarly. Like it's not, we don't actually get the thing. I might be able to capture them and bring them out. I don't know. I don't know if there's a good way to assert these things. There are ways, just nothing that would make this test very readable. Group by, let's add a tap. Grouped observable. So this grouped observable, we could do something here. Like we could say, okay, here's my grouped observable, and for my, let's put this on another line. I forgot that this probably doesn't have, oh, this one does have prettier already on it. Okay, great. So tap, grouped observable, grouped, and I'm gonna pipe that through, I could pipe it through another tap actually. Yep. And inside there, we're gonna have subscribe, do something in there, and unsubscribe, do something in there. And what I'm gonna do is have some recorded inner subscriptions. And I don't even know what I'm gonna put in there yet. It's gonna be an array of stuff. And what will we do? We can right here say, okay, well, when you subscribe to this, I want to say push key for the group key. Or actually, we'll just do this. Grouped key and sub. And then right here, we'll do the same thing with group key unsub. And I think, and we also want to know the frame and the scheduler. So let's just do that. I think we can get that by just saying test scheduler now. This is really hacky. We'll see if this works. All right, so if that's the case, then our recorded inner subscriptions, which is an array of strings, there we go, string, we should be able to say expect string that there. Oh, and this has to happen after the run, son of a gun, because this is asynchronous, like this is synchronous. So like this whole thing won't happen until after we're in the next line. So I have to move this down, which means I have to move this out of the block above here. This is so hacky. And then, where was I? Right here. To deep equal what? It's going to be key W at 0 W sub. And then next is going to be on, so it's 0 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say 5. I might be off, as long as it looks right when we're done. X sub, and then both of these at 10, 10 W unsub, 10X unsub. All right, you never have to test things this way. Realistically, if I saw somebody writing tests in their application to test these sorts of things, unless they're writing custom subscribers that are getting used by a lot of people, like, you crazy town. So, all right, so let's look, let's see if that passes. I've got my doubts. Nope. Let's see what it's wrong. So actual is nothing at all. These things never ever. So I added, oh, of course, derp. This shouldn't be a tab. This should be a map. Silly me. Import the right map. Let's double check. Look at all these unused imports. Who wrote this code? All right. Right here is where I was working. Okay, so let's run that again. Okay, this is looking better. So we're saying here we subscribed on 2 and 6, which that makes some sense because this is off, right? This doesn't, A doesn't align. So that is 0, 1, 2, okay. And then if that's off, this is also off. What in the world? How did I even manage this? All right, so that's off. This is also off. And then these are not the best. W there. All right, I think that's right. Let's try it again. No, that's not right. What am I doing? Yeah, that one's, I'm fiddled with that one when I shouldn't have. Because this needs to align with that. That needs to align with that. Yep. All right, go. Let's see. Is that other one still failing? groupBy operator. Should unsub blah, 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 blah. All right, so what's my error? My error is something else now, where it's saying the values it's getting out aren't correct. So let's think about this. If I'm grouping this observable, W is going to come out there. So W, let's look at our grouping rule here. Val to lowercase trim. So we're grouping by, every single one of these is going to give you a different subscription, W and X. And let's see. If I'm grouping by the value to lowercase trim, which is absurd because these are all, well, here's our values, never mind. I'm being silly. All right. So it's foo, bar should be the first one is C. Okay. That makes sense. And then foo, baz. Let's look and see what the error was, which ones were off. So expected foo, and bar, baz. Oh, we didn't get baz in there. Or no, we did. but it's deep equaling the whole shebang. And it's deep equaling the whole shebang because why? Did I not change what I thought this should equal? I don't think I did. Expected values. All right, so W and X are these things. And wait, it's saying it's giving me all of them still. So, all right, so if it's giving me all of them, it's because we're not actually unsubscribing for this. So our test looks right to me, but our group by is not behaving the way we want it to behave. Okay. So let's look at this, shall we? When our inner, this is our inner subscriber, when it nexts, it's saying, okay, I'm nexting here. No, that's complete. This is, wait, see, this is one of the reasons I want to get rid of this thing. So this is, it's saying this is our subscriber. It's saying this is our on next. It's saying that completions are forwarded, errors are forwarded. So when you complete this, you're completing the group. That's fine. When you error, you're erroring to the group. That's fine. The group, we're creating a grouped observable. No, where's the group coming from? Just making sure we're getting the group from this subject, this list of subject like. That makes sense. All right. So this is just for the duration subscriber. Don't be silly. Group by source subscriber. So that's just subscribing to the duration bit. We need to go to the part where we're subscribing or sending to all of our other subscribers. Let's go look in here. It's so hard when all the code is zoomed in like this, I'll be honest. Handle error, notify. So every single time you get a value, you're notifying everything in the group. This group's bit here, let's see, find all references, get setting here. So yeah, so whenever we get a new value, we get this key selector and we get our group. And if there's not a group, then we add a new group. And let's not worry about the duration part right now. So we create a grouped observable. And what we need to do when this whole thing completes, notify the consumer, which is every grouped thing that they're also complete. Interesting. And not keep that group by subscriber open, because it should always end now. Super strange. Let's go back to look at this. So again, this is saying that what? That's a duration selector one. We expected that one. Was I looking at the wrong test before? See, this is the problem with being zoomed in again. No, this is right here. So I'm expecting, oh, maybe this is okay. It just is in the wrong frame. Yeah. So I've got an off by one error with these values, and an off by one error with that value. So let's go look at our test again. So the second one, so we're saying that all of these values here are off by one. Why would that be? So we expected that, and we got that. So this is supposed to come from here. Yeah? No? Maybe? No, these were all fine. It is this one and the first one that are wrong. Okay. So this was not right. And what? This one, oh, that one is also off by one. All right, let's try running it again. Test was wrong. Here, and I started digging into stuff I didn't need to. Still off. And now it's off because I estimated these things incorrectly. Is that right? Let's look. we already knew about this problem actually. So let's go look at that. This looks correct to me. I think we can just go ahead and change it to the actual values. So it's one of them happens on 2, which makes sense. The other one happens on 6, which makes sense, and it aligns with what those other errors were telling me, like the fact that if you go up and you look at this is 0, 1, 2, so it should subscribe on 2 when it gets it. This other one is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so it should subscribe on 6 whenever we get it. All right. Let's see. Let's run it. Test. We should only have one failure now. And we do. We have this one. We have to go address it. Okay. Oh, wait. No, it's still complaining. Foo and bar. Oh, because the keys are foo and bar, not W and X. Silly me. Womp womp. Of course, because they're lowercase versions of these things. I didn't make this test complicated at all. I don't know who made it complicated, actually. It's been around for a while. Where is the, what did I do with it? There. Foo, bar, this is foo, and this is bar. Now it should pass. Oh, look, Alex is here. I missed him. Dropped by to say hi. Hi, Alex. Alex is a really, really, really smart dude I worked with at Netflix. Don't fall asleep in his apartment, though, because he has stuff that can control your mind. It's true. No, he works on really cool stuff with, like, he actually uses Rx to get streams of information off of your brain. So pretty wild. All right, let's see if this passed. Oh my God, seriously? Now what am I doing? Expected and actual. So it didn't get the unsub messages. That's so sad. And why wouldn't it get the unsub messages? Did this not get unsubscribed from? Oh, of course it wouldn't, because it's not unsubscribing from this. It's unsubscribing from the actual inner subject. And I have no way to reach in and look at that. Son of a gun. Are you kidding me right now? So we can confirm when it's subscribed to. Well, this test was almost useless. I can just remove this because, yeah, of course it's being subscribed to at that point. We can see that by the actual outcome. And that's a shame. Let me think about this. Is there any way at all? Expect subscriptions. Get rid of that. It's not being used. No. All right. Let's just, I'm going to delete this bit. After all that fiddling, see, this is what happens. Don't need that. Don't need this bit. There's a bunch of imports at the top now that I don't need. We're using map somewhere? I guess we're using map somewhere else. Let's just run this. It should pass, but I'm not happy that I'll have to think about this. If I come up with a way over the next couple of days to test that, then great. Otherwise, let's just go look at this one and correct the failure. All right, so this one here, it's failing for similar reasons. I mean, right here is where it should be unsubscribed. At least this one looks like it's all lined up properly, so that's good. So, but like right here, it shouldn't no longer be doing anything. Just make it pretty. And we change this to say it should allow duration selector and unsub from outer and inner at the same time. Sure. Let's see. And that passes. All right. So this looks fine. I'm not super happy about not having a way to test that unsubscription other than the fact that it's not like continuing to give me values on these afterwards. it should be okay. I mean, it really realistically should be okay. It's just a little bit, it's not great. It's not great. And there's just not there. And hopefully everyone understands the reasoning is like the thing that we're subscribing and unsubscribing to is trapped inside of the closure of the groupBy like operator. So these observables are being created inside of there. And I don't really have a way to analyze what's happening with those realistically, unless the only other thing I could do is provide like a custom connector. And if I provided a custom connector, then I could hook into its unsubscribe call. I just don't really know if that's worth it in this particular case. It's all other indications are that it's totally fine. So, and just as a sanity check, I'm going to go back here and look and say, okay, so we created a grouped observable and we send it out. And when you create the grouped observable, creating it off of this group, which is being made by this connector, and the connector, if someone else provides it, it could be literally anything. It's this subject. I do know that, let me think about this. When you do unsubscribe or when you do finalize this thing, any subscription that happened inside of this create grouped observable. Oh, this is interesting. All right. So we're subscribing to this group subject and look, we're not really, we're trapping it by virtue of the fact that I know RxJS will do this, but this here is any subject like, which means that like, if somebody gives me a hand-rolled subscribable, this is going to leak because we didn't actually get the subscription off of this and do anything with it. So what do I want to do about that? That's interesting. So I guess I could just return it because in theory, this returns an unsubscribable. So I just return it directly there, and that'll solve the problem because then that subscription gets added to this such that when this unsubscribes, it will unsubscribe. So unsubscribe from this. So this is effectively doing the same thing as subscriber.add whatever this thing is, because whenever you return, whatever you return from the inside of an observable constructor basically just gets added to that subscription. So for teardown, so we should be okay now. And we were okay in all the tests because we were using RxJS subjects. If I had left that like it was, and you provided your own hand-rolled subject, it may have broken on you. So that's decent. I need to figure out a way to test that. I'm probably not going to do that this PR though. All right. Does this any have a purpose? Like, what is this? Oh yeah, because it's expecting a subscriber here, but we're just like, yeah, go ahead and use that. And that's fine. Probably should change the signature of this because it doesn't really care about subscriber, but I can do that another time. Because you get the destination and then the constructor. I see the constructor cares that it's a subscriber. And I'm like skipping that bit. Lol. All right. All right. Not really happy about that either, but this is an ongoing section I'm going to be working on through, or we're looking at V8. What does this say? This will ensure that all operators have instances of the same hidden class in V8. Oh, V8, V8, the runtime, not version 8 of RxJS. All right. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. Let's run lint. And let's run the test one more time just because I'm paranoid. And then run DTS lint. This is just to make sure we didn't have any type changes. I don't think we did. Oh, what does hand rolled mean? So when I say hand rolled, I mean like if you were going to, someone's asking what hand rolled means. When I say hand rolled, I mean like if you were going to make your own subject by hand, like you make a class and you're like, oh, here's my, whatever class hand rolled subject. So hand rolled means like you made it by hand, and then you're like, oh, it's got a class in it, or it's got a next on it, an error, and so on, and a subscribe. But it doesn't. It's not actually an RxJS subject or an RxJS observable. You can make them actually RxJS observables by inheriting from RxJS classes, but don't do that. Like, don't take a type that you don't own and inherit it. And the reason you don't want to do that is there's not a good and safe way for any library author to lock down a class in TypeScript or JavaScript, really. TypeScript helps you a little bit, but there's no like sealed classes. So unless it's a documented API, like extending a component and for like React components or something weird like that, or I think Ember has whatever. There's APIs out there where they expect you to extend a class. Don't extend the class. Like, don't extend promise and then expect it to work well. Same thing with observable. Don't extend RxJS observables. It's not really a blessed way to do things. Even though we do it internal to our library, we own the type. So, but yeah, don't do that. All right. People have done it. I know a lot of people have done it. All right, let's see. So that one's good. That one's good. That one's good. All right, so let's go through. And what I usually do here, and I'm going to zoom out just a little bit because I need to be able to see things side by side. Sorry for making the text so small. But what I usually do before I commit things is I go into this list and I just look at stuff side by side and make sure my changes make sense. So we no longer are checking this should subscribe bit, and the reason for that is we removed that bit there. So that change makes sense so far. Let's see. Oh, we want to see, this is why you check. We want to remove that. This no longer has a purpose. Okay. This is looking, oh, this is looking fine. Let's add that one. Why is it in two spots? Did I make an additional change? What happened? Oh, that's weird. Okay. All right. Going back to this one now, we are no longer using operator subscriber in here, so that's good. Let's see. Capturing a reference to this because we need to handle it in create group observable below. Sort of subscribe. Like, we're not actually using it in any other way now, which is interesting. So except for right here. Oh, we did need to use it. All right, that's fine. I was just making sure that this comment made sense. So that looks fine. This is fine. That's an improvement. Look at that. Less code there. So happy. Less code here. Still happy. And that's it for that one. That one looks okay. Then here, we remove some stuff we weren't using anymore. And we change this. So these weren't aligned well before. That's awful that that's the way it was before. Fix some alignment, and it no longer has this bit of expectation anymore. That makes sense. Same thing there. And did I change the? Yeah, I did. Description, unsubscribe. All right, that looks all right too. So let's add that, and now we add a message of fix group by. Will no longer leak inner subscriptions. Group by no longer supports the behavior where inner subscriptions that aren't, what's the best way to call it? Like inner subscriptions will cause the outer subscription to stay connected after consumer unsubscribes from results. Resolves, and then what was the number again? It was 6805. Resolve 6805. This is technically a breaking change. Breaking change, groupBy no longer allows inner grouped, let's see, grouped observable subscriptions to leak or to stay connected after parent subscription unsubscribed. Is there a workaround for this? There's really no workaround for this, but there's really no reason people should be doing it either. Let's see, if you need this behavior, don't unsubscribe from the parent, realistically. All right. I don't think a lot of people are going to hit this one. They can file an issue if they do. All right, so let's go ahead and add that and push it up. All right, so I'm going to push that up, and I'm actually going to, before I do this, I'm going to look at all of this stuff, particularly the operator subscriber, because I don't think I need to export this anymore. I think I can just kill that export because everything should be using this now, for better or worse, even though all it is just a pass through to this. I'm going to remove this here very soon, but let's have a look. Run build clean, and I'm just going to compile it once to see what happens. Run compile. If it breaks, I might just put that back. Let's see. So it's upset. And why is it upset? On air zoom next is doing something with it. What's it doing? And then next thing is, why is it doing something with it? What? There's no reason to use this. Okay. All right. That was just a leftover junk thing. Who else? Anybody else causing this problem? It's funny that it's like, did you mean this? So smart. All right, so it looks like it's just that one. Let's run our test and make sure I didn't break anything with that change. Nope. Oh, let's see, subject. Should behave, oh, because we don't actually have a reference to it. That's fine. Let's just import it directly from where it lives. That's funny. RxJS internal operators, operator subscriber. Let's just create it directly this way. All right, so this is should behave probably by the same operator subscriber. So this is just a test where I'm like, oh, so all of our operators use operator subscriber. Let's make sure that if we subscribe to a subject twice with the same operator reference, it's not going to freak out. Like, so say you have an operator that takes a subject and subscribes to it twice internally. It should work. There was a bug around that in the past, so let's just leave it there. Run this now. It should be okay. All right, and we're going to add another commit to this. So there's that. npm lint. Because I'm paranoid, I don't think that's going to be an issue. So I'm going to start the process of adding this commit. So it's happy. All right, let's go through this commit file by file, make sure it's right. So we stopped exporting this. That's fine. So that this one we stopped using it. So that should have been done forever ago. I don't know why it wasn't. It just got missed, I guess. And then here it's the same thing where we're not using it directly anymore here, and that's fine. All right. So this will be just refactor, remove direct instantiation of operator subscriber. And I think that I have another one open I can go close after this that where I was fiddling with groupBy, and I have an open PR around this where I was making create operator subscriber, handled that last bit, and I was like, nah, I don't really know if I want to do that because we were thinking about exposing create operator subscriber to the world, but we have a better way to do this. So this is all going to get factored away, but I wanted to at least, unify everything so there's not one-offs when I go back through and refactor this code. All right, so just to describe what we did, stopped exporting operator subscriber class from module. Updated on error resume next to use create operator subscriber and a test. That's fine. And a subject test. Okay. I think that's good. There. Anybody that watches me long enough will know that I probably have an unhealthy addiction to Diet Mountain Dew. I drink way too much of it. All right. Let's see. So there's that. Let's go ahead and push that one up. Get push origin head. And so now that I pushed those two things, I'm going to switch my view over to the web. Done, and just go here and back, and it should have, compare pull request. So we want to commit this to master. That's our 8x branch, basically. And this is removing the strange, I hate that it tries to be nice for me and do this. Remove strange groupBy behavior. Then I don't like that it doesn't give me a better description here. So what I usually do in this case is I just run git log in a console, and then I copy and paste over my commit messages, even though they're already going to show up in there. But I don't like making people need to click into it. So I'm just going to do this and then do this. And then of course I need to fix the formatting here. All right. So let's create that pull request. We'll let it run for a little while. Usually takes about 4 minutes total for the whole thing to go through. Make sure everything looks right. Yeah, those are all the files I touched. That should be okay. It's great to see that we removed more code than we added, which is great. All right, so this gets us down the path a little bit towards where we need to be. The thing about everything that we're doing here is operator subscriber is the place where we're adding some safety around our next error and complete calls to make sure you've got the try-catch bit in there, and we're handling things in deterministic ways there. And it also is the place where we are tying a downstream subscriber, the destination, to the upstream subscription. So the destination becomes the parent of the upstream, the source subscription. So it's kind of, it sounds backwards, but basically what it is whoever's downstream, the destination, is subscribing to you as a source. So that subscription needs to own this subscription, so that when the consumer unsubscribes, it unsubscribes back up in the chain. So operator subscriber is doing both of those things. And if we go to our discussion and I look at that proposal, here, I scrolled too fast. I always scroll way too fast. I have one of those weighted mouse wheels that just keeps spinning. So, all right. So we need final, because we do allow like an override or a finalized handler to be registered on operator subscriber. So we need to be able to expose that publicly. And then the only other thing we need to do is make sure that a user is able to pass a subscription or a subscriber that owns it. And the reason that this problem exists is because observables can be synchronous. And that means if you're developing your own custom concat map or some other flattening operator that subscribes to inner observables, you need to be able to say, before you subscribe, say this is the thing that owns it, and pass the owner in, because otherwise you have to wait for that subscription to come back and then you give it to the owner. And the problem is, if you have a synchronous observable, it could be like, a while true loop that's nexting, or a while not closed loop that's nexting, but it's never going to be closed if you can't give it subscription to an owner that can close it. So you need to have that owner ahead of time. And that's one of the reasons designs exist for things like abort signal or cancellation tokens in .NET, that sort of thing. It's another mode of cancellation. I don't know, if I was to design RxJS from scratch right now, I don't know that I would have it return subscription. It is very ergonomic in the asynchronous case, but if you want it to allow synchronous things, then you need to have some sort of cancellation token mechanism. The problem with cancellation token mechanisms is it's a little bit more cumbersome, just a little bit, right? But not by much. As soon as you do, if you're only doing one subscription, yeah, it's annoying to be like, subscription, pass it as an owner. But if you're doing two subscriptions, all of a sudden, it's actually maybe a little bit more ergonomic. You don't have to trap the results of each one of these and then add them to some parent subscription, or do like a take until or something like that. You just have this and you can pass it in. So, I think if I was going to design something from scratch right now for observable, it probably would take the cancellation mechanism up front. Because a lot of times when you're developing things, you have more than one subscription. But I don't know, to each their own. There's lots of different ways to unsubscribe from things. I could probably do a totally different stream about that. But anyways, this gets us to where we need to be, where if we're able to say, hey, our owner's a subscriber, then internally we can take this and say, all right, well, add those try-catch safety mechanisms around these calls and pass those through to our subscriber. And we don't need that operator subscriber anymore. Like, we can do all that inside of here, and you don't have to add a try-catch, send to subscriber on air or whatever. You'll be able to develop operators exactly the same way that we do and have all of the same safety mechanisms built into it. Now, this is still up for debate, but it's got a lot of people are pretty excited about it. We still need to talk about it more detail at the core team meeting. It was discussed just between myself and Mladen at the last core team meeting, because we're the only people in attendance, such as open source volunteer work. But I think this whole API has got a lot of promise. It's going to clean up our code base quite a bit. It's going to mean that everything that you might develop for operators is going to look exactly like how we develop it as well. And there's nothing that could really go wrong there. And the other thing that's nice is this is a refactor. This is an evolutionary step. It's non-breaking for version 8. It's just a new feature, because as of version 8, subscribe only has one argument. As of version 8, we removed all our deprecated signatures where it could take 3 functions or something like that. The other thing that's nice is it starts giving us this options thing where we could maybe add in other things, maybe a scheduler argument or a signal argument for an abort signal or something like that. All of that is doable with this sort of interface because it's a little bit more expandable later on. So, all right, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna look and see see if there's any other questions. So yeah, the end screen. I'm absolutely going to upload this to YouTube. It takes a little while, but yeah. So if you missed part of it, that's fine. I'm happy that the folks who joined, and next time I'm going to probably be looking at going through and trying to muck with the internals to get rid of all those create operator subscriber calls and see if we can unify it into the actual observable subscription, see what that looks like, see if it's too nasty, because observable subscription has actually been weaned down quite a bit. So if we can get it to be joined in with our subscriber or something like that, I'll need to work at it. We'll see if we can get it to be small and efficient while we're kind of refactoring these things. All right, cool. Thanks everybody.